Hello, my name is Yar John Yar John. So I am a law student graduating this year, pursuing soliciting. So hopefully the next 6 months I will have my practicing license to be a lawyer. I got into the field to try and help my community in terms of understanding the law, how to fall in the right hand side of the law, or how to get out of the wrong hand side of the law. So that's my profession. I am a Christian. I believe in God. Therefore, I've taught Sunday school for like 6 years, coming to 7. I'm also like a youth and cultural activist. So in saying that, I like to promote our culture, specifically South Sudanese, the Dinka tribe. Anything to do with our culture, starting with food, to dancing, to dressing up, and to speaking the language. For example, my TikTok channel, I cook a lot of South Sudanese food, be it soups to baking to drinks. And I did that initially to just teach the young ones coming up how to, follow those tutorials and know how to cook their own food. The corsets all come in different sizes, they come in different colors and different patterns, and each one means something. So with this one, if it has more yellow at the top and these patterns are at the bottom, and it's like a half corset, means it's for men. So the men would wear this on the lower waist. They would also get ashes or like anything they can mark themselves with, like white powder, and they would make patterns. And they would brush their hair into an afro and like put things to make it look pretty. So they would dye their hair blonde. When a man wears this and go to law, the girl would think he's the most well-dressed man. And these cost a lot back in the day. So one used to cost a cow. So if you see a man wearing it, and cows were very, very expensive back in the days. If you see a man wearing it, the girl would think, oh, he's from a well-off family, like he's well-dressed, I want to be with him. So they really dressed to impress back in the days. So it's sort of like how, a girl will see a man driving a Mercedes now. This was my mom and her parents' Mercedes back in the days. This was the men and the girls' makeup to look good, to impress. The woman is a bit longer because with this one, they wear it for the full body. It's not just a lower waist trainer kind of thing. It's a full set corset. So it goes from the top of the breast down to the waist. They come in different beadings, colors and patterns as well. Traditionally, the girl that's like a second born or third born can't be married until all the other first, second and third born are married off. It's a respect thing. Same as men as well in my culture. So the second youngest man can't go and get married if the first one hasn't married off yet. I mean, it's different now. People just marry whenever. But some people still hold to the culture. And still follow it here in Australia. So if I was going to law, I would wear this one with the pink pattern in the middle, and my younger sister would wear this one with the patterns of yellow, black and yellow. For the older girls in the family, they would wear this and they would go to law with it. The men would look at the pink and go, yep, she's the next in line, let's approach her, let's highlight her. So they would approach you, they would say their names, and they would follow you back to your village and indicate that they would like some sort of a relationship with you. So there's signs and signals, these beads. So they sort of hint to the men which girl they can talk to, which girl they can't talk to, who's the eldest in the family, who's the next one to be married off. So that's what the patterns and the colors mean. So they put this on and they go to an event called Lord. So Lord is sort of like a gathering, a massive gathering and a celebration. So people can use Lord for anything. Graduations, wedding ceremonies, engagements. So any celebration that you can think of, we celebrated through Lore back in the days and still now. Lore is just a massive drum, and they have many men dance around it, and the girls will stand in a circle, a massive circle outside the drum and the men will dance, and once they've got into the rhythm of it, and the hype is there and they can feel the melody, they then spread out and they would go pick one girl each to come dance in front of them. So the men, minimum of 2, sometimes you can have one, but minimum of 2 to like 7, and they'll have one girl in front of them and they'll just jump up and down until that song is finished, and then they'll cut it off, they would go again, and the man would have to go pick another girl. So it won't be the same girl again. They'll have to go pick another girl, and that's what Lord is. And they just keep repeating it until a couple of hours later, and they pack up and go home. So that's a form of celebration, and that's Lord. In other cultures, they do it separately. I heard in like another tribe, it's the women that go and grab the men, and I heard in other tribes, the men would dance, and the girls would just voluntarily come in front of the men and dance by themselves. Specifically, as the Boer tribe, where I come from, you don't go near the drum to go and dance unless the men have come and ask for you to go dance. And they ask through songs. They would come and sing in front of you and do hand signals and stuff, and then you follow them towards the drum. The beaters of the drum can never be women. They just see it as disrespect or whatever. So it's always the men beating the drum in the middle of the massive circle. So that's what Lord is. My least favorite dish is kabudia. Mainly because, okay, for one, it doesn't have a pretty smell. So if I'm preparing it, the smell would already turn me off before I even finish the whole dish. And with that staying in my head, to sit down and eat it, like, the smell has already stained my nostrils. So that's one thing. The other thing is cleaning it. If you get it from the butcher nowadays, they clean it for you, which is good. But some butchers or back home, you would physically have to clean the meat yourself, like the stomach, be it lamb, goat or cow. And it's just, it comes very dark, and you have to sit and physically scrape off like this dark layer on the skin, the stomach. And you'd have to boil it for about 4 hours or so. And then you'd have to cut into these little pieces and then cook it with the meat. Some people like it. I don't hate it. I would eat it. I don't hate it. I would eat it. But if there was a table and they had kombo, they had a cup, they had quindiong, and they had kamunia, I'd probably pick it last. Know where you came from. Understand where you came from. Appreciate where you come from. Practice where you came from. Know your roots. Young people can get involved in their culture through accessing cultural groups, that practice the culture. So one big one that sort of brings everyone together at the moment is the South Sudanese Australia Traditional Wrestling Association. So what that is a wrestling group formed by different cultural groups within every state. And so they have like a federal leader, and then within all the states they have leaders. Like I spoke about it before, how I led the Nyaroon group, the girls, and then in other states there's girls leaders and there's male leaders. So with the wrestling groups, they set dates and they travel, and they don't just do it in one place all the time. They go to each state and they wrestle on that day, and they have the traditional dancing, they have the wrestling, they have the singing, and they even have practices prior to attending the wrestling day, the game day. So the men have practicing how to wrestle. So they have advisors that are older, that used to wrestle back in the days in the village, or that have cousins, or that have, or their parents used to wrestle. So they come on training days and they advise youth how to wrestle, what the techniques are, and what skills you need when you're wrestling. I used to invite all the girls to my house. We would sit down, I would sing, they would follow, and dancing, how to hold the stick when you're dancing and all that stuff. So there is other leaders now. So my sister, Mary, and Adio Nayun, her nickname is Mamalo, if you look her up on social media. So they're the Nyaroon leaders within Queensland at the moment. So they run the practices, they run the meetings, with me just in the backseat helping whenever needed. So you can access people like them, the young ladies I just mentioned. There is also other traditional practices and places that you can attend. For example, I know in Melbourne, I have a friend called Ayen. So she runs the Eurolease dancing. So she teaches literally from like 4-year-olds to 30-year-olds. So the links will be included to have access to that. There is also classes that are held by community centers where they teach the Dinka class. I understand there's all these different dialects, but my dialect is the Boer one. So I teach in church mainly. So the Sunday school, church would start, and I would take the kids to the hall, sit them down, teach them the language, Bible and whatnot. But there is local areas where they teach the language as well. For example, where I live up in Red Bank, there's a community center, and Abraham Kur runs the Kuch the Kuch Community Association. So they run Dinka there. They run the Dinka class, and they do specifically in the Bo dialect. But they can invite people as well to sort of understand, because I know like Awil and Yuru and that they have different dialects. But they have access to people that they can invite to come and interpret and help in that aspect.